Welcome to the Brand Theory Podcast, the podcast for helping you uncover your passion, realize your purpose, and take the aligned action. Together, we're going to prove the theory that when we live our lives on brand, the possibilities become limitless. I'm your host, Danielle Marquesi, branding expert and business coach. Let's get started. Welcome back to another episode of the Brand Theory Podcast. I hope you are enjoying your day wherever you are in the world. Today we are talking to Marina Harmon, the CEO and founder of Huma Rising. But before I get to that, I have to give you a quick update on my hair situation here using the 3-part system Revlon Magnet anti-pollution system from ReelStyle Exchange. Still loving it. Still thinking my hair is the most healthiest it's ever been. It's the softest it's ever been. And especially as we're kind of transitioning the seasons, just like a nice refresh to be doing this hair care system and just move into the new school year, the fall season, feeling fresh and renewed. But I also want to shout out a couple of their other products that kind of tie into today's episode. They have an entire line of apothecary supplements, and these supplements you can use. They're in powder form. You can throw them in your coffee. You can throw them literally in your chicken recipe that you're sauteing or your veggies. You can blend them into smoothies. You can blend them into something that looks like a raw cookie dough bite, but it's not. And you can blend them into basically any drink or recipe that you would be cooking. You can throw those in for a little extra boost. They have everything from mind health to gut health to overall immune boosting health supplements. So definitely go on ReelStyle Exchange, check those out, pick which one you want. Every supplement comes with a free recipe book, and you can also book a free complimentary call with the ReelStyle team to figure out which supplement would be good for you. So definitely go check those out. And without further ado, it is my pleasure to introduce Marina Harmon, the CEO and founder of Huma Rising, an app for deep subconscious healing and transformation. Marina is a self-taught mobile app developer and producer who bootstrapped the Huma Rising app from scratch. She's also a 200-hour registered yoga teacher with additional training in modalities like Yoga Nidra meditation, which I had no idea that was. We are about to learn all about it. Transformational Breathwork and Tantric Hatha Yoga. I'm probably butchering that name. I apologize. Her heartfelt mission is to help people heal and deeply connect with themselves through powerful subconscious healing methodologies. Welcome to the show, Marina.
Thank you. I'm so happy to be here.
I know there's a lot of apps out there that I personally have tried, that I'm sure you guys have tried, that have really just tried to get you to calm down and tried to get you to do some kind of morning practice, meditation practice, and all of it, mindfulness in one. And guys, I'm not just saying this because she's a guest on the podcast. I've been using the app for only a couple of days, and I feel like it's the best one that I've seen. Again, not just saying that because she's here, but we were talking a little bit before. One of my favorite parts is this whole gratitude practice you could do right inside the app. So I'm just excited that she's here, that she's going to tell the full story for us, and that we can really talk about mindfulness in business and everything in between. So the first question I would have for you is always the biggest question. I would love for you to tell us a little bit more about yourself, how this even came about, and tell us how you got to the point where you're at right now with Huma Rising.
Yeah. So I really struggled with depression in high school and college and even into my early 20s, and also struggled with bulimia, the eating disorder. And luckily in my early 20s, I found Yoga Nidra, which is one of the primary practices on the app. And it's a meditation for deep subconscious healing, and it's shown to be effective for depression, anxiety, PTSD, eating disorders, and many more issues. And I started going to a class every week in Washington, D.C., where I was living at the time. And it was the first time that I felt peace and well-being in my body, like since childhood. And I just remember that it gave me this sense of hope that I hadn't had before, that I could actually feel okay. And ultimately, it did help me move through my depression and through my eating disorder And I'm so grateful for the practice. And that's why I'm so passionate about sharing it. But meanwhile, at the time, I was in marketing for about 12 years at different tech companies. And I moved to LA about 4 years ago and decided to take a Yoga Nidra training just kind of for fun. And I had also taken a yoga teacher training and had gotten really interested in these spiritual practices after they had helped me so much. And after my training, my roommate at the time and I started to give little half-day retreats to people on our back patio.
That's so fun.
It was really fun. So she would do mindfulness and I would do Yoga Nidra. And I saw how much value people were getting from the pairing of these practices and from Yoga Nidra in general to be working with these deeper held issues. And so one night while this was going on, I had actually a vision come in at like 2 a.m. And I woke up and I started journaling and I saw the whole thing as an app. And I was like, I have to create this. Like, this is my purpose. And it was just so clear from that moment forward. And then when after I had that sort of realization, I was like, every moment that I spend in my job going forward, like, feels kind of like wasted time. Like, it's time for me to go all in on this. And so I quit my job a few months later, and I had a friend who was a mobile app developer, and he actually convinced me that I could teach myself how to code and that I had the brain to be able to do it. And luckily, I believed him and somehow taught myself how to code. And with his help, he helped, unblock me or move me through things and helped me with what to learn. But I ultimately built the first version of the app, which we launched to the iOS App Store in November of last year.
That's amazing. Also, I know the minimal basics of coding just because of the website design stuff that I still do. Yeah. But an entire app, just self-taught, that's amazing.
Thank you.
How long did that take you? From the time he was like, no, you could do this, to the time the first version kind of was developed and ready to go?
I would say it took 6 months of just being in practice code. And then it was actually really helpful to sort of learn as I implemented things that would be in the real app. Mm-hmm. And I learned better by doing than by sort of practice or theory. So if that makes sense. Yeah, theory. And then it took about 1.5 years of coding on the new app, on the real app. Yeah.
That's crazy. That's awesome though. That's such a fun story. Is it, when you were growing up, is this something you ever imagined yourself doing?
No, definitely not coding for sure. I wanted to be a writer when I was a kid. And so I'm happy that now my job includes so much writing for blog posts and the meditation scripts and all that stuff. But
that's awesome.
This.
So tell us a little bit more about the depths of inside the app and kind of how you chose different things that we could be doing and engaging in, and give us a lowdown on that.
Yes. So Huma Rising incorporates both mindfulness practices and more deep subconscious healing practices. And our primary subconscious healing practices are Yoga Nidra meditation and transformational breathwork. And the reason that I think it's so powerful to pair these two different modalities is because mindfulness, it's how you show up in the world, how you live in your day-to-day life, like slowing down and being present and being with your food or being with your partner or whatever is happening in your life, bringing more awareness to how you're treating others. But in order to actually change how you're showing up in the world, we need these deeper subconscious healing practices that go to sort of the root of our issues. So if you think about how hard it is to make change in something like an eating disorder or depression or whatever it might be, it's because we hold these traumas or these root feelings about ourselves deep down, and we don't often look at them. We don't face them or work with them or give them the space to be expressed. And so these practices give us the opportunity to dive into the subconscious, allow these emotions to be expressed and transformed and ultimately cleared, so that then at the same time, we can rewire our brains for more positivity, more peace, more well-being. So it's sort of both sides of the equation. It's like the releasing and the creating of a new experience.
Yeah. So tell us a little bit more about when you started this app, who did you think, or who did you want to reach, and who did you want to help?
When I first started, I had that naive idea of this is for everyone.
Yeah.
Everyone. I was like, they need a target market. I don't need a target market. No, but it quickly became clear. Obviously, you can't talk to everyone. But it seemed that our person who would get the most value out of this was usually somebody who identified as a woman, who was willing to sort of do the work on themselves. Like, it's not always the easiest thing to do a daily meditation practice and to look at these deeper parts of ourselves. But a lot of people have started to step into that, have started to be willing to look at how they're impacting the people around them. And it's so beautiful to see the people that want to do this work. It's really cool.
Yeah. And I think that this work, these people who want to do this work, they're starting to come out of the word work even more. I think this is maybe it's just the industry that we're in, but I feel like it's such a common conversation that I'm having of, I want to be better. I want to work on myself. I take Fridays off to do just a day of self-development or self-healing or whatever they're working on. And I feel like having this place to go and to start for somebody who doesn't even know where to start is so, so important. And I feel like this is really what your app and further like a community really is doing for these people who are craving that change and just don't know where to start. It really delivers it in such easy bite-sized pieces. And it's crazy the transformations that can happen in such a short amount of time when you dedicate yourself. And what I mean short amount of time, and I'm not saying you're going to be changed tomorrow. What I'm saying was it's 20 minutes inside this app, or it's 30 minutes, or it's 5 minutes to start. I think that's really cool.
Yeah, that is one thing I wanted to mention too, is that, these Yoga Nidra and transformational breathwork practices are a bit longer, but we do have intro practices to help you get a taste of what these practices are like, so that you can start to bring it into your day, and then maybe do a longer practice like once a week or twice a week or whatever can fit with your schedule.
Yeah. I'm curious, and I'm sure everyone else is curious, what's your current kind of morning routine, or when you kind of do your mindfulness practice? I'm sure it's throughout different points of the day, but I'd love a little insight on what you're currently doing.
Yeah, I do breath work every morning. So I do the transformational breathwork style. And sometimes I'll do a full 25 minutes of the breath and then stay in a meditation for an hour plus. Or sometimes I'll do just 5 minutes of the breath if I have, morning meetings or something like that. But I find that, it's such a beautiful way to start your day, because it really puts you into that like joy and that self-connection, and just the way that I come at my day after that is completely different than if I don't do it. But I also will say that for a long, long time, my daily practice was Yoga Nidra, because that was what helped me gently start to go into my subconscious mind. And it's so calming and healing and relaxing. And that was what I needed at that time, was to learn how to feel safe in my body. So I always recommend people try a 40-day Yoga Nidra practice, to do it every single day for 40 days, because that changed my life. That's when the idea for Huma Rising came to me. That's when I found my purpose and my what feels like my place in life. And so I really recommend that.
Yeah. And that's kind of what I was saying before, is we are so on the go that I feel like we don't make that time to just sit and listen to the ideas that come, or to ourselves, or what we're feeling, or uncovering those things we didn't even know we were feeling. So having that that practice inside every single day. And if it needs to be 5 minutes for now and leading up to an hour or whatever you want it to be, I very much encourage you guys to start incorporating some kind of mindfulness rest, like really rest. Put your phone in another room if you have to, unless you're using the app, and just really listen to yourself. I think that's so, so important. I think it's a big part of what we're missing in this go, go, go world. So I know what I love about the app, but what do you love so much about the app?
My favorite thing about the app is probably the transformational breathwork videos and the yoga nidras, because I love the longer practices, but I would love to hear what's your favorite part.
Well, just having, like I was saying in the beginning, or maybe it was before we started recording, of I got into journaling practice, a couple of years ago when I started working with my coach. It's something that's always been there, but I slowly started transferring it to, I'm on the go. Let me just open up that one note that I have that's just my chaotic brain and just write things that I need to just get out. But having that like actual grateful practice and having that gratitude practice right inside the app, I don't have to go searching my phone. I don't have to go searching my journal I like to read what I was grateful for the day before, and just have that all in one place inside this app. It's like setting my intention and just showing that what I'm grateful for every single day, and having it all in one place that's my personal favorite part.
I love that.
Yeah. So fun. You guys have to check it out. So what do you feel, other than those practices, your favorite part sets your particular way of doing things apart from other apps we may have seen?
Yeah, I think there's a couple things. I think, there's a lot of apps out there that focus more on mindfulness or like the quick practices for immediately calming down. Our approach is going into the depths, going to the root of the things in order to make real change. And I think that's when you see these powerful transformations in people.
Yeah.
So there's that. And then we also have a really like hands-on approach and community. And we have monthly events that are free for subscribers. And we'll do like a yoga nidra together or a breathwork practice and kind of connect with the group. And then we also offer services. So a few of our teachers are also certified life coaches and are really skilled at helping people with where they're at in their journey and recommending specific practices for them. Mm-hmm. And we'll do things like helping you figure out your sankalpa, which is your heartfelt intention. It's a technique that we use in Yoga Nidra. And we'll do like custom Yoga Nidra recordings for people if that's something that they're interested in. And that's sort of just a fun way to connect human to human with the people.
Which, if you guys have been listening to this podcast at all, I am huge on the human to human interaction. And another thing I feel like we're just missing in this go, go, go internet driven world. It's great, everything we have at our fingertips, but we don't want to forget those human connections that make things like this so, so special and so customizable to us in that point where we're at in our journey. So I love that you guys offer all of those other things in addition to either the short versions or the really in-depth version. That's awesome. So for somebody who's just getting started or just a little hesitant or nervous about doing this, where do you recommend starting? And what are some kind of words of encouragement to kind of go for it?
A lot of them also have these talks at the beginning that introduce some of the concepts that were really life-changing in our own lives that helped us as we first got into these practices. But in terms of sort of recommendations or words of encouragement for people getting started, I think there's nothing to fear when we look at ourselves. I think a lot of the times we're afraid to sit with ourselves. We're afraid of what we might find or that our feelings will be too much to handle, or that
it's almost like there's shame around spending time with yourself. If there's something that comes up around you that you don't like, it's like this projection of, well, if I don't like this about myself and other people find out this about me, I'm not going to have any friends anymore. I'm not going to have, I'm not worthy of what I want in my life if I'm still uncovering all these things that just aren't sitting right with me. How can I go for what I want? I think that's something that I personally was very hesitant to dive into, of just these old, old things, old demons, old stories I was telling myself of I'm not good enough, or, I racked up debt starting my business. How am I sitting here teaching people how to do business when I feel like on one hand, I'm actually failing? It's all these things. And whether it's something with eating or something with how you're thinking about yourself, I feel like it all, maybe this is just me, it all comes together in this worthiness section of your brain. And people are afraid of exploring if they actually feel worthy of what they're doing, their life's mission.
Yeah. So when so many of us are so afraid to sit with that part of ourselves that feels unworthy or feels like it's not enough. And that part of us really just wants to be seen and felt and expressed. It's begging for our attention. And when we give it our attention, when we give it the space to be expressed in our bodies, that's when it moves through and we become free of it. So yeah, I think, not being afraid of going into your emotions, not being afraid of what comes up, just allowing it to be there. And then trusting that this work really does make your life better, like that it will help you with whatever you're going through, big or small. It helps you feel so much better in your body, in your relationships, in your life, and how you feel about yourself. So
yeah. I love that. That was a great answer. I always ask this question, and it's usually answered already, but I like to ask it anyway to see if there's anything else that comes to mind. Was there ever a time in your life where you're living off brand? So you weren't living in alignment, you weren't living authentically to yourself, and this could be big or small. What was that, and how did you navigate back to living on brand?
Yeah, what a great question. I love that. Yes. When I was trying to get the app out, I went into major stress mode, and it was like around COVID time. I was dealing with my own fear of what was going to happen with COVID and my finances and all those things. And I started working so hard, and I just spun out a little bit. And I realized that I was hurting my body, hurting my immune system. I started to break out. I was not feeling good. And it was kind of like just a wow moment of how can I be trying to be an example to people of, wellness in the wellness world, and be treating my own body like this. This doesn't make sense.
Totally.
So I took a huge step away where I was like, if Huma Rising never comes to be and I have to let go of this completely and surrender, I'm willing to take this space for real and see, am I forcing this? Am I trying too hard to make something come to life that doesn't want to come to life? And I had to sort of allow that process to unfold and to look at, how can I come back into my alignment, and how can I live and work in a way that feels good, and taking that sort of dramatic space away and just being with my thoughts, being with my feelings, taking off the pressure. It's what allowed so many new ideas to come through. Yeah. It's what unblocked the whole process. And then it taught me so much more balance. And now, of course, I'll still battle moments of stress, but I feel like that's a big cue for me that I'm not in alignment if I'm super stressed.
Totally. And that's, I feel like, such a huge component of being so in touch with this work and mindfulness from head to toe, of, those things to look out for in yourself, in your body, how you're feeling, how you're reacting or acting to certain things, of, okay, what's up here? What do I need to do to come back to my spot, my safe space, my sweet spot? Are there any last messages you want to leave us with today? And tell us definitely where we can find you and where we can find the app.
Yeah, you can find us on the iOS App Store. Android is coming soon. but by searching Huma Rising. And you can find us on Instagram at huma.rising. And in terms of last words, I'm just so grateful to have created this. And I hope that anybody out there who tries it gets value from it. And if you have any feedback for us ever, we're always so open to hearing it. And my intention is just really to bring healing into the world as much as I can through these practices and through this technology or through human to human interaction. So I'm sending everyone so much love, and I hope that you try it and like it.
I love that. Thank you so much for joining us. And I will link all of everything that she said in the show notes for you, everyone. But thank you for joining us. And thank you for blessing us with your wisdom of mindfulness today.
Thank you so much. Thank you.